Welcome back to the Podmen, the wrestling podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Audio versions of the show are available through Spotify, Podbean, Apple iTunes. Wherever you pick up audio versions of the show, you will find us there. And today, only on the network, if you want to check it out, we dropped a little remembrance video, myself and Ian, remembering Daphne, who sadly passed away this week. Just honouring her memory there. If you want to go over and check that out, drop a like and a share on it. We'd love to hear your comments on it and stuff like that. But tonight, you see, the four men are back together. The band is back together. Summer recess is over, baby, and the season is back. And we are going to do a review of AEW All Out. What a pay-per-view, lads.
Unreal.
What a change from what we spoke about mainly throughout the summer about this organization. It's been an unbelievable U-turn, really, and 180 degrees. Ian, kick us off. Talk us through quickly the pre-show.
Well, do you know what? We won't spend too much time on the pre-show, obviously, because we want to get into the main event, so to speak. But what I will say is, nobody was a bigger critic of AEW than me at one point. But as Joe rightly said on a previous show, I don't know whether it was on the Dynamo's Dozen with Jay or not, but it was coming from a place of like wanting it to succeed. Do you know what I mean? And knowing that they had the tools there to do it, if they could just get the right fucking pieces in play and get the right kind of culture, I think would be the right way of kind of describing it. But the pre-show was great. Like it was a great build-up and all that. I'm not a pre-show guy, generally not, never have been.
Not in front of a 3.5 hour show.
No, I never have been, even with WWE, you know what I mean? It's like, I used to like the old pre-shows back in the 90s and 80s, especially in the 90s when they'd have maybe 10 minutes, before the pay-per-view was about to start to give you your last chance to purchase it and all that. That was kind of exciting. But yeah, like they had the whole Punk interview and all, it was pretty cool. We got to see a bit of Orange Cassidy and all, and so we'll leave it at that. I think that's where we'll leave the pre-show. To be fair, it was a good pre-show on their part, but I think we have an hour to talk about the good stuff.
Well, let's get into it then. The TNT title, Miro versus Eddie Kingston. Joe, give us your thoughts on this one.
Loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Some of the strikes were very snug between the two boys, and
they were.
Miro's chest, like after only a couple of minutes, to be that bruised and swollen, he must be in bits today. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed that match.
How good does Miro look, by the way?
Oh, he looks unbelievable. The amount of weight he's lost. He's absolutely, well, not completely shredded, but compared to what he was in WWE, he's unbelievable.
He's leaner. Yeah.
He's a character like that. You could have put the old Russian stuff on back in the 80s, no bothers, and like would have got over big time down in fucking Charlotte and all the Carolinas. Like
that kind of gladiator style ring gear looks like business on him as well, doesn't it? Like he's every bit of it, really. The
shaved head really suits him too, doesn't it?
Yeah, he really absolutely looked like a main eventer. I mean, for a card opening match, it was stellar. It was, I mean, if that was a main event match at the end of the night, you wouldn't have really had a problem.
No.
Like, he looks fucking great. He looks like a champ. Best thing that lad ever did in his career was listening to Jim Cornette.
I loved as well at the start of the match before they got it together. Like Eddie Kingston was going out of his mind, trying to absolutely lay one on him, and just showing how nuts he was. And I loved walking out. That t-shirt's brilliant, Joe, isn't it? Redeem these nuts.
Look, Kingston's brilliant. And I think he's one of these guys. I'm really glad he's getting his due now, because he was seen as a promo guy for so long, and because to look at him. Let's be honest, he doesn't look like a main event player. Let's be honest. But he performs like one.
But there's a place for people like that, Joe, isn't there? Different bodies, different sizes,
Yeah, look, no, but he was brilliant in that match. And, as I said, like in the build-up with all the promos and stuff, the man is brilliant. The way he carries himself is phenomenal. And so I'm glad he's getting seen by a big crowd now.
It's good seeing, because he is the type of wrestler that matters. Do you know what I mean? And like he has a place. So I thought it was a great opener as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that whole 4-pillar sort of tribute offense, and he just lights up Miro's chest. You see Miro coming back into the shot then, and his chest is just glowing on one side.
Glowing.
Yeah, I think them boys had a little word with each other at the start of the card to each other. Hey, listen, look, let's go fucking Macho Man Steamboat on this. Let's steal the show for us. We've been working here a while now, so let them know that there's some talent they've already had to begin with that can do a fucking job, you know. And it was you could see it in them that they were loving their wrestling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a great pro wrestling match.
It was wrestling, yeah, and it's good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get on. Joe, you might want to take this one. Kojima versus Moxley.
I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Me too.
Yeah, I am not the biggest Moxley fan, as you guys know, and I thought he was brilliant in this match. He's beginning to turn me, so he is. He looks in great condition too, and look, it was a good match. And then the icing on the cake when Suzuki came out at the end was just brilliant.
By the way, he's a fucking monster now, isn't he? Like just that big. Moxley, like again, another one that looks like he would have fit in a territory back in the day. Do you know what I mean? Without a shadow of a doubt, you can see that, you know, he's a fan of the likes of Stan Hansen and all that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I sort of look at him coming out when he has the ring, the hoodie on him and everything, and he looks huge. But then when he takes the hoodie off, I'm wondering, does he just look big because his posture looks like it's gone to shite? And I'm not too sure, like whether it's
he's a big boy.
He's definitely solid and put together. The one thing I look at AEW is they're really working hard on presentation and stuff like that, and you know, that whole area of it. And then he still walks out like a hobo with that game changer hoodie on him. You know what I mean? And I just, it's not even, I don't mind his entrance and coming down to the crowd and working the crowd up. I think that's pretty cool. But I think his overall presentation, I think he could present himself a bit better, if you like.
But to be honest, like I'll kind of go back on that. Like think about his character. He's meant to be from the fucking sewers of, you know, wherever he's from. Like, you know what I mean? He's meant to be. Yeah, he's like, I think it fits his character. And to be fair, like, you know, you see in the last couple of weeks, you see now that he's actually starting to do pro wrestling matches. And believe it or not, when he does pro wrestling matches, he's actually quite fucking good at it. But I think he presents himself in that way to be different, because you need something different. Not everything can be polished, and like, he's not the kind of guy that's meant to come out looking polished or looking.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, if he wants to look like he's a lunatic coming out of an asylum, he can look a different way. I think when you're going out to the ring, especially against these Japanese guys, when they come in, they're so polished and pristine and, you know, showroom in the way that they present themselves. And then he's mosing down in the, you know, the filthy game changer deathmatch hoodie and a pair of grey jeans. And it's kind of like, he could probably do a little bit more. I don't mean he has to come down gladiator style or anything like that, but he could come down with a little, I suppose, give the impression that he made a bit more of an effort. It's a big deal. It's a big show. You know what I mean? It's not a throwaway.
And his entrance and his character, I think he tries too hard. He makes me fucking cringe through my skin. He's like that mad lad in Skill. I'm mad. I'm like, are you? Come there, have a word with your man who's eating ink cartridges and not telling the world he's a fucking loon.
I would agree with that, Jay. I've seen him a few times, in fairness, coming out like, and like he'd be just like kicking a chair or something. You're like,
what are you doing, you tick? If you cruise down here like you don't give a fuck and let us know that you legit don't give a fuck and you've made it, well then we'll get behind you. But this stomp Neanderthal man head, oh, everything is stupid, look at my beard, oh, I'm gonna kill everything. Like, no, stop, relax, calm down.
We know a few people like that, Jay.
Yeah, well, man, so I am. You're not. You're a tick. You're a fucking tick.
Did anyone else at any point when he sipped the water and threw the bottle away, were they thinking maybe a Triple H sort of moment or something like that he was going to go out with the water?
It was a bit like that, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go the whole hog just to stick it in there a bit. You know?
In fairness, he didn't though. So
no,
I think it's this WWE style of crazy, that kind of lunatic fringe, slightly Brian Pillman dancing craziness in his eyes would work a lot better in this company right now.
I agree. I agree.
This cast off fucking Stone Cold bullshit needs to die. It's just stop making me cringe when I'm watching the show.
Joe, please. Overall, the match, Joe?
Enjoyed it thoroughly. I really did. You know, like when you get two professionals like that, and especially Kojima, who's been I think they said he was at it 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's in phenomenal shape. You're not going to get a bad match out of that, really, to be perfectly honest. I really enjoyed it. And as I said, a lot more than I expected to, because I am not a Moxley fan, and I really enjoyed that match. And then, as I said, Suzuki to come out at the end is just brilliant.
That was mad. It's weird, wasn't it? I didn't know what I was watching. I don't watch any Japanese wrestling, and I was really entertained by the fact that I was watching a star from another territory and basically another planet, another world, come
Yeah.
down, and the company was treating him with the respect given a 30-year-old veteran in front of a crowd who were cheering for him. They obviously knew who he was. And the fact that Rose wasn't patronising fucking Land of the Rising Sun World War II bullshit, and it was just two men who were very good in the ring going together. An honest appreciation for worlds colliding in the ring, and it not being patronised as a wrestling fan. I just really enjoyed it. And like I said, I don't know who the man is. I haven't seen a day of his 30-year career. I've seen that match, and I'd watch him again.
Yeah.
You know?
I thought as well, as he made his way down to the ring as well, I thought the announcers did a stellar job of telling us exactly what this man meant to the business.
He's important. Yeah.
And that this is a big deal. Like,
is it just me, or is your man getting a bit better? Excalibur, another one I give out about.
He was more relaxed.
He's getting better now. He still does this Kuja Bija, like, and you're like, can you not just call it a fucking Irish whip now?
There's definitely something to be said. There'll be at some stage during this podcast if we could bring it up in one place, a production, as opposed to there was certain notable aspects of this card that they never had before, and it definitely deserves a chat.
And I'll say one thing as well. Tony Schiavone is starting to step out again and being the old announcer that he was. You know, he's not just there kind of making jokes or having fun. He's actually calling the stuff. And I think your man Excalibur now, there's a great little dynamic between those
They
three.
came together. There was synergy.
Yeah.
They weren't talking over each other.
Yes.
They were allowing retort and rebuttal, and then turning around looking at the match, which is integral to a commentary team with three men on it. Too many voices floods your ears with nonsense. Like, Taz wasn't there, so yes.
It was actually great.
I also said to Joe, we were talking prior to the show, and we were talking about how Justin Roberts looks the business as an announcer. He does brilliant looking, like, you know,
so professional looking, like, and great at his job too. I know I was never a big fan of him, to be honest with you, but he's grown on me, like, because as I said, he does look the part. You know what I mean? Yeah. I love. It's something a little bit different. It's very similar, I suppose, to WCW back in the late 90s in that. You know, WCW used to have the darkness over the crowd and just the lights over the ring, but they'd have a bit of a spotlight. I like that kind of little bit of purple that they have over the crowd, where it's still dark, but you can't make out every single face. Whereas sometimes with WWE, you can see every single face. Do you know what I mean? It's overproduced.
Yeah, it distracts you. You're reading T-shirts and signs, but you should be looking at the ring. The only thing when somebody's talking in that ring should be that fucking ring. It's the stage. Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? I'm you know, we're all fans of that old smoky arena look, you know what I mean? And that kind of blacked out, like, even if it was in Madison Square Garden, you
800 lick cigarettes.
Yeah, you could see like a Marlboro Red sign back in the day, like, do you know what I mean? Or like a Budweiser sign somewhere. And I think that's AEW. Yeah, the production is getting absolutely fantastic, like it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on then. Brit Baker versus Chris Stotlander.
I'll take that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Please.
Good Lord. I did not expect what I'd seen from this match. Brit Baker, good, like that. She is a star. Like she stepped up last night big time. Like that's. I mean, and I'm gonna kind of look at it this way. I haven't watched enough of her. I've seen a good bit of her, and I've always liked her. And I know that a lot of people I respect are big fans of her and stuff like so. You know, I assumed she was great anyway. But good Lord, did this match deliver? Both ladies, to be fair, looked like stars, but she looked like their version of Charlotte. You know what I mean? Like we were talking a few weeks ago, if Charlotte was to go there, is there people for her to wrestle? Well, good Lord, yes, there is. And we'll talk about the Battle Royal later. But I thought this was an absolutely phenomenal match. Up to this point, Joe, I'm going to steal your one because I agree with you. We were talking earlier. I thought it was the match of the night up until that point.
Oh, it was my match of the night for a long time.
Yeah.
Long time in this paper. I absolutely loved it. I thought the two of them were phenomenal. I thought some of the wrestling was unreal. The exchanges they had where they went round into different, like, stuff I haven't seen in years. Some of them, you know. And shout out to Chris Stotlander, that superplex. Where she held Brit Baker up in the air out of nowhere, and
strength
out in front of her, like, it was just phenomenal. And what a finish as well. Great finish to that match, because it just made the two of them look really strong. I really enjoyed that match.
It was a wrestling match instead of a ladies wrestling match, which is high praise. It's just the art was the art, and who was doing it didn't matter. I'm glad that they're toning down that fucking Statlander alien horse shit. I can't stand that crap. I can't. It's silliness, especially when she's clearly a very talented fucking athlete.
Yeah.
Now I know she must be into it. Must have been her idea because she's very into it. But I'd like to see it slowly phased away and allow her to.
But it didn't it last night, Jay? I'd agree.
Yeah,
with you.
it was very subdued. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. They're almost morphing her into kind of like, if you will, to have a great champ. A great champ needs a great nemesis, and the great nemesis can't be ludicrous. We see it in the other company all the time. They've got some fucking great female wrestlers, and they've got some hokey fucking throwback shit that needs to stop. Just at times, particularly at a pay-per-view, whatever about the weeklies, drop the silliness and let a larger audience enjoy the product as pure as it can be.
I noticed last night with Brit Baker as well. You know, we come on here sometimes and we talk about people being stars, but the crowd also react to her as a star.
Yeah.
And if you notice how the crowd was on timing with her all the time and everything that she did, which makes her really a true star, if you like, you know. So I thought
this is just a star fucking pay-per-view, isn't it, when you think about it?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And I think also, as Joe mentioned about Chris as well, I think she was out for a while with an injury, wasn't she? And she has
she got a really bad injury.
Yeah, and also she's come back from that, and plus her absolute lack of experience to pull off a match like that is incredible. So
clearly a quick learner, which is it bodes well for the future.
Yep.
Absolutely. This next one coming up, I know is normally a bone of contention with us. The Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers in the cage match. You know, I really enjoyed the pay-per-view, but you know, I still detest the Young Bucks. The last night still did nothing for me. I just can't. Jay mentioned earlier about hokey, how like pulling a runner out full of thumbtacks to me is hokey is shite.
Stop that, lads.
I just don't like it. And Ian, we did a look back a few weeks ago when we did Bret versus Owen in a cage, and we spoke about how it was about the boys and the perfect timing of using the cage and when it should be involved in the match. This to me was a demonstration of an overuse of the cage and a lack of substance, and that's how I felt about the match. So, anyone else want to chime in?
Look, people are expecting something out of me here now. When it comes to the Young Bucks, people are expecting fucking. Listen, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would, purely from the standpoint that it was a it was done in an old school way where it wasn't a rule where it was your typical tag match. You know what I mean? It did have vibes of old territory wrestling where like you get in like a fall brawl or something like that, a war games, and you just go in and it's hell for leather. And some of the stuff and some of the sequences in it were absolutely phenomenal. I think there was a story told in it. But at the same time, I can't disagree with what you're saying. I don't know what conversation you had with Jay earlier, but I can't disagree with what you're saying, that there was hokey elements, and that's always going to happen with the Young Bucks, unfortunately. However, I thought, like, for example, like those timing sequences that, you know, both are ready to do the same thing. Like that's
synchronized horse shit.
Yeah.
We get that in Olympic swimming. I don't expect it in a cage and where it was like, to be blood and guts.
Yeah, it was like even
there was a dance.
There was one of the moves where the Bucks was in the corner.
Should be organic.
And the guy came out of the corner and he stood there waiting for the sequence to happen.
Yeah,
one of the Lucha Brothers, and I just thought that this is so telegraphed and choreographed, and we know that's part of it and that it's a dance, but it was just overestimated and overdone and oversold, and it was just.
Well, we've seen this before with them. The dance is in essence, in terms, something that should happen in the match. There's a subtlety to it. It should not be visible to the audience. The timing and the signatures and the sequences should be seamless so that nobody gets hurt, but it also should feel organic. It's a fight. They're fucking wrestling. Now, when they're running to different spots so they can be against each other and they're doing this West Side Story, fuck off with that shit.
Yeah, you know? there was lots of great elements in it. There really was. There was some great stories, as I said, told in it. But I think, like Jay and me, kind of, you know, we sing from the same hymn sheet when it comes to that. You know what I mean? It's 100%, and I think we all do, to be fair. It's when you know that the boys are just waiting for something to happen, you're like, okay, grand. But I think we would be remiss without saying that there was some great stuff in it as well, and there was the good story told.
50%, the move sets and the things that I seen in the ring were fucking
phenomenal.
Phenomenal. It could have been
But
the
it's
match of the night.
Yeah, it's kind of how it all comes together, really, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like I don't know if you've noticed that German on the apron. I had to look away. I thought the guy's neck was broke. It was so careless. I looked at it and went, Jesus Christ. I couldn't believe it. Like, I just fucking went, Jesus. And then but then there's other elements in there that I think work really well. When they do some of that double team stuff against each other and stuff, it's really, really, really good. And it's athletic and stuff like that. But just somewhere in the middle of all that, you don't kind of get the psychology and the story that needs to be told. This should have been a huge deal. This is the boys winning the tag belts. It should have been massive. And those two boys, those Lucha Brothers guys,
they're fantastic.
Alex and Penta, they're unbelievable.
Can I just say something about, is it Matt Jackson? He's not, now I know Jim Cornette calls one of them balding, but I don't think he looks baldy to me. In fairness, he's a fine head of hair. Both of the boys
it's a lovely nickname that he can't drop, even though it's not true.
It's not true at all. He looks great, like. But your man has the kind of weird kind of blonde in his hair. What's the other guy with the darker hair? Matt Jackson, isn't it?
Yeah.
He is starting to impress me big time. His facial expressions and all.
Yeah.
I know he was the one that took out the boot and all, but I think his facials look a bit more aggro.
Yeah, it's bringing a bit more psychology and a bit more meaning to it. Like we've spoken at times about Roman and his facial expressions, stuff like that as well. But I just think,
and it matters. It really does.
But what happens is
Roman is so over.
They go down that road and we get a little bit excited about maybe we're going to deliver a story with psychology that knits together, and then they revert back to the chaos of the dance, if you like, the choreograph.
Yeah, at times they're still very indie minded, even though they're.
And I know, Ian, you're wearing that lovely NBA gear, so maybe I was a bit pissed that they had ruined the Jordan M1 runner. Maybe that was part of it as well. You know?
I was thinking that.
That bothered me as well. To be fair, I was looking at that, and I'm a fan of the blue, black, and white as well. I was would be a fine runner for me.
And I was thinking it's in Chicago as well, and the Bulls, and you're doing this.
Kidding me? Like that, I could wear a pair of those with this Orlando Magic's jersey, and it would just fit
100%. Yeah,
and these fantastic, by the way, and this fantastic Fight Factory shorts, by the way, just
nice.
But
if you were ordering those M1s, order them without the thumbtack option.
Yeah, that's a fine way to puncture a fucking magnificent pair of shoes. You know, lose one thumbtack.
If you're gonna play golf with them, you might be all right.
I mean, they'll squelch every time you walk in the rain. You don't want air bubbles coming out of your brand new.
But no, it was
runners.
It was okay though as a match. Like I thought it was pretty good. I wouldn't even say okay. I think it was a good match. I think for
it could have been great.
For what it was, it could have been great, but I think it was good. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I enjoyed it. Like yourselves, lads, elements annoyed me, especially the when all four men were in sync. That drove me fucking
sequences.
Mad. Yeah. No, and they're just like, oh, lads, come on, what the fuck? And then the finish annoyed me with Phoenix up on the top, jumping from the cage on top of his partner, who didn't sell it. You know, the other two lads were dead after. He just jumped up, and I was like, for fuck's sake. You know, it was little things like that drove me mad about that match. But I enjoyed it. I did quite enjoy it there, to be honest.
Yeah. Just I was looking at some reviews today, actually, lads, and that match actually scored the highest rating, believe it or not.
Was that from one?
No. I looked at a number. I looked at a number of sources, and a number of sources gave this a 4.5. Believe it or not.
Like, you know what?
I'm sorry. I enjoyed the match, but it also had elements of what I hate about modern wrestling.
Do you know? I actually
wasn't the best. It wasn't the best match anyway. I'm just saying that, Jay.
I was listening to the crowd and the reaction, and I was looking at this from an outsider's perspective because this isn't my company, and they're getting there, and I'm loving to see the fucking rivalry and what they're doing for pro wrestling and how it's making it good. Make pro wrestling great again.
Now there's a rivalry. Now we've arrived.
What I noticed, unfortunately, is what I realized during this match in my utter disdain and disgust for these two fucking jabronis synchronized swimming, and I fucking turned when Johnny Blondebeard did the little Macho Man twirl and the fucking leg. Now, we've noticed this before in our matches and it never comes up. And I just, the boil, I could taste it coming up on my mouth. I was like, how fucking dare you? I wish the pair of yous with your synchronized horse shit were put in a ring, in a cage in 1984 between Volkov and fucking the Orange Sheik. And I could see the big men staring at each other. And these two guys synchronizing their way through, and then Nikolai picking one up and hitting the other one with his brother. Just beating the shit out of him. I was like, now, me and him can't even synchronize getting out of fucking bed. How dare you bring this bullshit to my
What
doorstep?
you reckon, Jay? I'll do you one better. What about Nikita Koloff and Ivan Koloff? Put them in there.
You see them just staring, looking at this, and then looking at each other and looking at the pair of them going,
Yeah, I
Hulk
looked,
smash.
yeah, I looked at it last night as well. Like they're after getting the shit kicked out of them, and the next thing one of them goes to the corner and gives the corner cam a wink like that. And they're going, "Fuck off, playing up to the business, you pair of
Fucking Lego wrestlers.
Well,
Get out of the fucking ring, you pricks."
As the great Brian Last said, like they want to be careful because at the end of the day, the elite name is now owned by one man that runs this company, and you know.
Well, this is what, again, before I segue into Nikolai and Shiki.
Going into business for themselves. That's what that kind of thing is, winking at the camera.
Yeah, it's bollocks. It's fourth wall breakdown. It's indie Ireland bullshit. You're on the main stage now, and the man obviously wants to create a professional product, which was the other professional product. And if you want to keep that horse shit up, you're dropping the facade of what we're trying to achieve here. But what I noticed was how hot the crowd was for them. And unfortunately, what's happened here is it's the other guy, syndrome or theory. When you give a marginalized set of fans exactly what they want on a grand stage, they pop through the fucking roof for it. And a lot of legacy fucking fans like ourselves who were looking at this going, the crowd were going nuts for it. And what can you do?
Be fair though, Jay.
Let them eat cake. Give them what
to be
they want,
fair though, Jay, I think
the
crowd rightly so went nuts for it on the night because I think there was more bad than good. We're picking out the bad tonight. Do you know what I mean? We're picking the bad out.
No, Ian, I know that. I appreciate that they paid for that ticket and they had a good time at the show. That was particularly brilliant. But what I'm saying
it's a Chicago crowd. They'll let you know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is from this particular match, all of the things that I dislike about it, that crowd were going nuts for. So I can't criticize them from that perspective because there's an aspect of the books that I clearly don't enjoy or get.
Yeah,
that a room full of people do. So my criticism falls on deaf ears simply because I can't tell other people what they should be wanting from what they paid for when they're being given it. It makes me the hypocrite, not them, even though they're synchronizing their way through the little matches.
It's true.
Let's get on. Here's one we really want to talk about. MJF versus Chris Jericho.
Blowing past the women's battle royale, are you?
Bombshells tonight.
Well, all I'll say about that is the wrong person won that. But anyway.
Well, you know how I feel about that, Joe.
Yeah, I think the wrong person won. I've said it a million times. I don't like people debuting and going straight into a title scene, and that's what they did. And not impressed.
I'm going to presume it was Ruby because I didn't watch that. I was stuck for time.
I'm a Thunder Rosa guy. Just saying. But to answer your question, Noel.
Sorry, yeah. I just wanted to say that the wrong person won that.
You're right.
And coming up after this on the Dynamo Podcast Network, Joe's 40-minute review of the Ladies Royal
That's
Rumble.
what we're going to do. That's exactly what we're going to do. Just so you know, we're going to be recording another show after this, so you're going to see me looking the exact same.
It's just 25 minutes of a camera sitting looking at Joe, watching his facial. Oh!
No, MJF and Jericho, I mean, again, talk about they make this go like their little packages are starting to get good as well. They're still not WWE level. I don't think anything will ever be WWE level. No, they never will be. You know, WWE
packages
level.
are getting good.
They're getting
packages.
Sorry, bit of schoolboy humor there. Sorry, that's what he said.
So I was going to say let the adults speak, but I was like, no, that's not true. Because I'm going to say something super later, and then you can say that.
Virtual high five.
Virtual high five. No, I think their video packages are getting a little bit better telling the story, but I think this is what I'm really starting to like about the announce team. They're telling the story. You've got two of the greatest of all time in Tony Schiavone, as Chris Jericho used to say, and Jim Ross. And then, of course, I think Excalibur is starting to step up now. I still wish he'd take the fucking gimmick off his head. But look, maybe one day. But no, they're definitely telling a good, they're telling the story before the match even happens. I think MJF's entrance was just great. You know, coming out in that little fucking King's get up and just, you know, standing, squaring off. He is literally the closest thing we have to Roddy Piper nowadays. And
he's fucking
I love it. And then Jericho comes out, obviously, with the guitar player playing it, because obviously the song can't be played. So he's just playing it on the guitar and letting the fans sing it. I thought that was a great idea. Jericho still reeks of star power. Looked great too, actually. Looked fucking, for a man that looks like he's ready to go on tour, looked exceptionally ripped, actually. Especially for a fucking near 51-year-old man. But this was great. I think the story that the commentators were telling this story as you were watching it, you could tell that Jim Ross and Shivani and Excalibur, like, they want Jericho to win this. You know what I mean? And I loved Shivani's little throwaways. He was like, I don't want to make this very biased. And he was like, no, make it biased.
He was on fire in this match.
Shivani was fucking phenomenal in this.
He told, was it Callis that he was full of shit?
Yeah. I was like, he's full of shit. I was like, this guy is just great. And he goes, and I'm not even going to apologize. It was just
it was the first time I had heard him cut loose. The dynamic of that commentary team now is, one, the gimmick, as he's called, the Mexa gimmick, he's not trying to be the best at a desk where he's not even a close towards, right?
No.
He knows his role, he slows his role, he listens to the men, and he interjects whenever he has to, with, at times, vital information that the two other fellas wouldn't necessarily have. And
he's the Mike Tenay. He's the Mike Tenay.
Yeah, but he was trying too hard in the early days. He wanted to be number one on that desk.
Yes.
And we realized you're sitting beside the actual number one, full stop. That's Jim Ross beside you.
You're
listening. Might slip up now and again, but everything else that comes out when he's interested in the product and not competing with you for words is fucking on point. So let the man speak, then tow in behind him. Be the cart. That's the horse. And
like, you're literally sitting beside number one and number two from the Monday Night Wars.
Right? These men have seen this before, so let them speak. This isn't the first time around the block. And neither
and by the way, how many times during this broadcast, Niall, I know you would have heard this, how many times during this broadcast did Tony Schiavone just go, oh, I love pro wrestling. And I was just like, Tony, you fucking, do you know what? I just want to grab you and just fucking hug you and have a cocktail with you.
I think somebody had words with them three men.
Yeah, I think so. I think someone in the truck into the earpiece is doing a stellar job as well, actually.
We'll get to that as well.
Because I looked as well at they did a documentary there, a little mini doc there last week on Punk's arrival in. And how the cameramen structure it and the lighting and everything.
You know who that is, don't you? By the way, that's doing it.
No.
He's the guy that was calling all the shots in that little intro. He's the guy that done pretty much all the big WrestleManias from 2001 or 2002 up. Jim Cornette was talking about it. Yeah. He's done them pretty much all the way. And then recently, apparently, he was doing baseball.
Yeah.
So
he got sick of Dunn's style and just said, fuck it, stuck it up your hole, just make me not love wrestling anymore. He literally lived fucking CM's there. Yeah. But
it was absolutely brilliant the way he was able to go camera 10, camera 8, back to the ramp.
Get the shot.
He was just controlling so much, and he was just screaming into guys' ears, back to the ring cam and all this kind of thing. It was just absolutely.
Oh, you need that in the pit. You need a ring general. You need in the midst of chaos. You need a man who has a vision past the current problem and sees the solution.
But you can imagine someone in the van going to Schiavone, keep on telling them you love pro wrestling. You know what I mean?
Sell our product. You're the voice.
Don't you love the fact though that Tony Khan has kind of really sat back now with the 2 years? Like I said, it is still a baby company, but sitting back and going, I need this piece, that piece, that piece. Like in terms of a GM or an orchestrator, good Lord, he's making all the right decisions at the moment.
He has a vision. He has a vision. He knows what he wants his product to be, and he's hammering out the shite. Now, look, I think one of them fuckers is watching this bleeding podcast because every problem we bring up with this company, it's resolved as quickly as he can get the money together. Like, I mean, how long have we been talking about camera work and pro wrestling? I haven't heard that issue from any other podcast or listener.
Jay. Speed oil.
Let me see those small packages again.
We're due Fulham season tickets, are we?
Listen to me.
Well, Noel, I didn't want to say, but
maybe it's just because we're bickering out bollocks. That's a lovely bit of alliteration.
Speak for yourself.
I will. I often do. It's all I do. But I have never once heard anybody have an issue with when they talk about the problem with AEW. They always talk about bits and pieces and this and that, and they never put the full conversation together. And us have been watching wrestling for the last 35 plus years from us down between us. We've been calling the camera work shite for the last fucking 6 months to a year, and it has been. And the notable changes, I have never seen a product overnight turn so quickly from what we hate to what we love. It's bloody ridiculous. It's bloody, and again, with the criticisms we've been laying at Khan, he has been learning on his feet, and we spoke about this in the last podcast. He has been, and look at the results, man. I mean, even if it was a mediocre card, the production was excellent.
That false finish as well was brilliant, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Well, what about Jericho and MJF? Yeah,
I will look. I will come
Jericho
in here.
and MJF. I thought it was actually a very good match. I thought it was one of Jericho's better matches that he's had in I was about to say WCW, in AEW in the last while. Joe, I'll pass this over to you because I can see you agreeing with me there. So I'd much rather your voice on this one.
Yeah, well, look, I love this from start to finish. MJF's entrance with the Millennium Countdown clock and Jericho's last match, and as you said, comes out with the King get up, makes the ref take off his ring, all that. Like he's gold.
Yeah,
he's absolute gold. And the only criticism I had of this match, and I could stand to be corrected here, is that MJF hurt his back with just one forearm to the back. Now that seemed a little bit over the top, that he was holding on to his back for the rest of the match, and that's what the story. And I was just like,
have you seen the size of Jericho's forearms?
Yeah, but like the only thing
like
is
a bag of burgers.
Because I don't watch AEW week to week. Maybe there's a story behind that.
There isn't. I don't think
he hit him once in the back, and he sold his back for the rest of the match. And I was just like, what? Now he sold it really well. Don't get me wrong, but I still thoroughly enjoyed that match. I thought it was brilliant. But it's going to be when you have Jericho in there. Like it's very seldom going to be bad, and I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was second match of the night up until this point.
It was. Yeah. It was. Yeah.
I think it's what's lovely with this is the first match in 6 months I've seen Jericho step out of his funk. He's been in a funk this last while.
Yeah.
I think that they're running the wrong angle with him as a wrestler. First of all, right, his muscle memory for moves is exquisite. I mean, we can call him out of shape. He's 51 years of age. I mean, I'm 42 and it takes me 3 hours to get out of bed. I'm not going to talk about the man's shape. He's 51. It's a life of bumps. He's earned his fucking physical.
The man hit a lion soldier and a good one too.
Muscle memory. It's between moves that he's struggling. It's his walking, it's his pace, it's this lumbering thing. And what they're doing, which is completely wrong for him currently right now, what they should do is portray him as not this man who can still run with the kids, the big lion in the pen. What they should do is the broke down aging warrior who still fucking turns it on whenever it needs to. If they went from a different perception with him as a pro wrestler, it could actually add and work to the man's mystique. Like, do you know the way for 20 years we watched fucking Jeff Hardy do that broke down shit all the time, and he's like, oh my god, he's injured. He just stepped out of the gorilla position and he's injured. If they did that with him, let him be the broke down guy. Let him. He's not.
The problem with Jericho is that he makes all these. This is all.
No, Ian, I know it's ego. He wants to see himself as young, and when the one turns in him and he realizes I can be the distinguished fucking hierarchy in this place. I have earned my place. I am pro wrestling, and it's okay that I can't run the fucking 300 meters.
Yeah, I thought the way he looked, and Joe touched on it with the move. I thought the way he looked made his moves even look more impressive because we didn't.
Yes.
Because it was just a more sort of greater mass doing a similar thing. You know what I mean? And I just thought it was really impressive.
I agree. It should be used as a benefit, like as opposed to him kind of battling people, telling him, "Oh, you should be still 23 and move like you're 25." Fuck off! I'm 51, you bitches. I mean, when I'm not in the ring, I'm on tour with my band. I've lived 10 lives and you've lived half one. Fuck off! Like, let him be that broke down, withered warrior king who's raising the sword one last time to go to war. Let him be that. Let him be Optimus Prime coming out of sarcophagus to defend whilst the fucking Transformers or the Autobots get out and save themselves. Let him be that.
Fucking nerd.
Yeah, listen, it's Transformers, baby. We only had 2 channels in the 80s. What you want?
only
We didn't all
messing,
grow
yeah.
up with Sky One. But
I'm
you know
with
what
you.
I mean?
I'm with you.
Let him be that. Let him be that fucking stoic, ancient warrior king. Don't. And him pursuing this whole, I'm still as young as I ever was. Stop it. You're not. And we can see it. but you can be something else, which can be far greater than what you're trying to be and what's not working. Now, again, that's a psychology perspective. That's probably just probably the only one who perceives and sees that. But the man's muscle memory and his moves are still, he's still Chris fucking Jericho. And he doesn't need to be anybody else.
Let's move into the meat, let's say the main course of this show.
We're all here.
CM Punk versus Darby Allin. Ian, you take this one. I know you're chomping to take this one.
Well, I like both guys. And
oh shit.
Jesus Christ, it was Darby Allin's entrance was just great. I love his music, that kind of almost fake Nirvana music. It's I like his gimmick. I like the darkness. I like how Sting brought him down but then left. Listen, I don't think I've heard a crowd that loud. Again, it matched the return, didn't it?
Yeah.
CM Punk's entrance, good lord, coming out in his little dog's hoodie and everything. Like, how can you not like that?
Yeah. There's a touch of Raven to Darby Allin, isn't there? It's pretty cool. Like, coolness to it.
Yeah, it's very, very unique.
Like that in the corner and that stare he was giving Punk, like it was a killer stare, wasn't it?
It was deadly. And I mean, talk about a crowd fucking enjoying what they're seeing. Like, this was old school wrestling. This is, people talk about attitude era stuff. This is fucking on par with that. What we've been seeing in AEW when we're seeing these.
It's the gratitude era. It's the fucking gratitude era. We're thankful that wrestling is back.
Yeah, and I loved at the start of this match how Punk just kind of sat down and done his little Indian position and looked right back at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in terms of, I was like, whoa. And I also have to say, I thought it was a good idea because I was thinking, how is Punk going to come out being different? Because obviously he's got the same hairdo, got the same kind of stuff. Like, is he going to come out and change anything? And I was thinking, is he going to come out in the old Ring of Honor kind of baggy shorts or something like that? But no, he came out in the long tights and it was a really kind of cool, different look. You know what I mean? Little things like that make, that I would look at, I suppose, from a wrestling standpoint. I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. But in terms of the match, I mean, this was match of the night up until the point, without a shadow of a doubt. You're talking about a lad who hasn't wrestled in 7 years, and wrestling. I think the story they told was phenomenal, and in terms of how they were able to get Punk was over already, but to not have to put Darby Allin over at the end of it was the big part. I thought it was a great match.
Some would say he hasn't wrestled in 14 years, but that's neither here nor there.
You what?
Some would say he hasn't wrestled in 14 years.
He'd probably tell you that,
that's
yeah.
neither here nor there.
It didn't hurt his brand, did it?
No, not at all. I have to
kind
say,
of made it, didn't it?
I wasn't sold at all on the tights. I think in the trunks he looks the business.
I thought the tights looked nice.
I thought it looked kind of weird on him because of his body. I thought they were.
It made him look too long.
Yeah, but it also made him look quite small.
Well, I didn't put that much thought into it, to be fair. I just thought it was nice looking.
Joe, in terms of Darby Allin,
presentation matters.
He's a real star, isn't he, Darby Allin?
Yeah, Darby Allin's phenomenal. Like all his dreams must be coming true. At the end of that match, he's in a ring with Sting and CM Punk. Like, Jesus Christ, he must be fucking delighted. He's only a young man. But one thing I loved about this match, like Ian was talking about storytelling, that CM Punk kept putting him in rest holds, and I loved that because Punk, and the commentator said it too, that Punk was really worried about his conditioning in pro wrestling. So how do you combat that with a young man? You just wear him down, and he just every opportunity he had, rest hold, and just sat on him. And I thought that was genius. I love this match. I don't know if it beat the women's title match for me, Ian, but I did thoroughly enjoy it.
That's fair though. It could be a flip of a coin for me on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, there wasn't much in it. It was a bloody good. It was a cracking match. There's very. I was about to say there's very little I can complain about. I don't think there's anything I could complain about.
No.
Complain about even that, like the GTS where Darby fell out of the ring. He did that brilliantly.
Yeah,
Everything was stiff though, wasn't it, as well?
He's complete disregard for his body, so we just went straight out.
that
There's no
bump,
messing, like.
Joe, that bump he took at the start where he went sideways through the ropes into the post.
Oh.
Jesus Christ, what a bump. Holy God.
And they were talking about a laceration possibly on the back of his head. Like they were, that was
that was
absolute.
unbelievable.
I actually looked at that and kind of went, did Punk get pissed off there?
Because he put him straight through it, didn't he?
Yeah. But when you look at it in slow motion, it was safe as houses. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just Darby Allin likes to, he's thinking, I'm going to fucking, this is my moment.
I thought the other one was mad where he did the flip off the top rope and he landed both feet right on top of Punk's head. I don't know if you've seen that one. He was a little bit off on it, but the 2 feet just landed straight onto Punk's head and Punk just shook sort of. It was really, really cool. I love the way they've so many names for his moveset as well, like that the coffin drop and the Last Supper and all these different things.
They're cool, aren't they?
I love both of those moves. They're creative.
Me too.
They look well. The coffin drop looks brilliant, man. It's just
it does.
Yeah.
And when it's done with someone that's going to protect you as well, it's perfect. You know what I mean?
My initial problem with this was Kev Rocks walked into the sitting room when I was watching it with him, and when I'm sitting beside him, an electricity charge goes off between us, and we break into comedy routines. And I turned around and was this: do you think whenever Darby Allin walks anywhere with Sting and the cameras aren't on him, he's like, "Can I call you Daddy?" And Sting's like, "Don't ever call me that. I will kill you."
I would say that's true.
I have this vision now. Can I call you Pappy? It's like, don't ever call me that. I will kill you. And secondly, the camera pans up Darby Allin. And I was like, doesn't Darby Allin look like Butters from South Park? And then we just fell around just doing Butters routines with Darby Allin interposed into them. And I'm sorry, but it works.
He's extremely, he's very small. Like, I mean, it's weird.
He fights like a bag in the fucking wind. And every time you do anything to him, he flies 23 feet fucking hard left. It was bothering me halfway through the match. I'm like, son, look, you're little. I mean, stop bouncing around the place like a fucking ping pong ball. Like, get in the ring and fight the man. It's
I'd say
slap somebody, he's off in the fucking third row. It's like, why do you keep doing that? I came to wrestle.
I'd say Punk must have felt really weird being the big man in a match. There must be many years.
Well, in fairness, he wore his big boy pants.
Yeah, he wore the long trunks.
One of my favorite bits, if not my absolute favorite part of this match, was when Darby went for the coffin drop and Punk just sat up and he just missed him. Yeah, I thought that
was lovely.
Brilliant.
His timing was exquisite.
Because usually they have to roll a million miles to make sure that they miss them, but he just sat up and bang, just landed right behind him.
Yeah, I find with that coffin drop as well, doesn't it look like as if a sniper has shot him from the crowd or something? Because when he hits it, there's not a single movement out of any part of his body till he lands. Like, you know what I mean?
It's deadly. Yeah. But without a shadow of doubt, like, I mean, talking about a man having his first pro wrestling match, good Lord, it just shows you that muscle memory is there. Like, you know what I mean? It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
In terms of leading the match,
the thing about him was he was always a smart grappler. He was always less is more when they want more from you. He has this subtlety to him, which it works.
Actually, Jay, on that point, remember when he did hit the GTS on the outside, and I thought to myself, is he going to turn heel here for a second? Because he sat back and was waiting for a count out.
Yeah.
He was like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. You know what I mean?
He's the kind of fella who couldn't turn heel if he wanted to. I mean, he could take a shit in your nana's mouth and you'd still cheer him. You know what I mean?
That's actually the only thing I found throughout the night with those countouts. We had it with Jericho as well. They were counting all the way till 9 and then suddenly jumped up and ran into the ring. And I thought that was kind of like, it was a bit sort of weird, you know what I mean? Like, you said it with Jericho was on the floor as well, and she's going 8, 9,
shoom,
and then all of a sudden, straight in, like there was nothing wrong with him. And there go, you know, it was just weird, like, you know.
I think it's them trolling Jim. I think it's them trolling Jim Cornette. It's like, we do listen to you every week. We're big fans.
The actual finish.
Thanks for producing our show.
Phenomenal, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I love the dignity after the match as well. I love.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I love the fact that you could clearly see on CM's face, I didn't want it to be him. I did, but I didn't want it to be like this. There was almost kind of like a keep at a kid moment. Do you know what I mean? And it was lovely. It was almost like a
well, did you hear what CM Punk said in the press conference afterwards? He said Sting came up to him and said, "What you've just done for that kid is what Ric Flair done for me."
Yeah.
It was kind of your Undertaker Jeff Hardy moment, wasn't it?
Well, I think it was your Sting Flair moment, really.
Yeah. Mm.
That like it's like you're ready now.
Yeah.
You go and you take this. Do you know what I mean?
And we know with Punk as well, he's only going to get better and improve as he knocks some of that rust off and stuff like that.
Jesus. Well, I mean, if that was rust, fucking prick.
I don't believe there's any rust there. I think the man is fucking. He's
no, but I mean in terms of his cardio and stuff like that, you could see in the match at times, as Joe said, with some of the holds and stuff like that, that he was getting a breath.
But that was
no, but that was psychology.
Yeah.
That was what because don't forget, this lad literally still rolls around with the fucking American top team.
Yeah.
The cardio ain't an issue there.
No, he's being very smart. He's portraying pro wrestling the way it should be. It is a grueling event. This bouncing around like a live wire for 40 minutes down things that you shouldn't be doing and getting straight up after them. He's not telling a story. He's conveying the gravitas of what is alluded in the business. He's pro wrestling. It's what we love of the past. The fact that Impact moves should be impactful. You know, things that the young bucks would never understand.
By the way, after the match, that promo from Aleister Black was fucking phenomenal. About Malachi Black, sorry, and talking about basically pay the ferryman. I was like, I like the old ode to Krista Berg. Don't pay the ferryman.
Wait, he misinterpreted what he said was don't pay the boatman or some shit.
Don't pay the. That's what he said.
I snapped at Kevin. Said it's the ferryman. Has he never?
Yeah, I said Jay, I said the same thing. I was like, it's the fucking ferryman. It's the boatman's toll, is what he called it. And I went, it's the fucking ferryman's toll.
I like that he's still selling the eye injury from a company he's no longer in anymore. I like the one white eye. I do dislike it that they have another member of their roster wearing half a face paint. I'm like, your makeup moment must be making serious scroats off you.
But that was a serious match for me. It was one of the matches of the night anyway.
Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt. I'm not going to dwell on the cooler match, Paul White versus QT Marshall.
No,
Paul White can barely move.
Did that happen?
Yeah, it was just a cool.
Shades of Andre the Giant. Yeah. No,
it was just a complete filler match. He went in, beat him up. Done.
Yeah. Let's get into one of many main events, but this was the main event, if you like. Kenny Omega versus Christian. Ian.
Yeah,
being the main Kenny Omega fan on this podcast.
Do you know what the funny thing about it is? I think I am now.
Yeah, no, I mean that now.
That's your new handle, Kenny Punk.
Kenny Punk, Kelly Punk. Yeah, there's still little things he does that annoys me. Like he whispers into the camera when he's talking to you, like, I can't hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
and you're like, what
no interest in hearing it either. Thanks.
I don't know what you're saying. Are you telling me you want to suck me off? I don't know. I can't tell, but your eyes are telling me you do. Yeah, I have to say, honestly, he's a great look at the moment as well. I love the beard. I love the fucking dark hair with the blue coming out with Don Callis is just brilliant. Don Callis is a throwback to our Bobby the Brain Heenans and those guys that we want. I'm not saying he's at that level, but he's definitely, you know what I mean? He's in that fucking ballpark in terms of that's what he's there for. You know what I mean? And the story that they've told with him and Christian Cage about him fucking doing him on a payoff and all that kind of thing. It's like, it's just great. It's great storytelling. You know what I mean? And again, just amazing work from the commentators here, the announce team. By the way, I think Christian Cage's music is one of the best. Just want to say that. I think it's unreal. It's something about Christian Cage that he's like a fine wine, isn't he?
He's a pro wrestler.
He just like, it's great to fucking see. Like, I mean, he is. Let's not talk about Kenny Omega for a minute. Christian Cage, when he comes out, he looks like a star. You know what I mean? Kenny comes out and looks like a star. And again, he's starting to kind of take that bad guy roll down. But my God, this was a fantastic match. Kenny's starting to get it. You know what I mean? And when I say get it, Kenny gets it more than fucking any of us. We knew he has the talent. We knew what he has. But Jesus Christ, he just knows how to work as a heel now.
Yeah, I loved when he went up onto the barrier and he missed the
And he
moonsault
fell on
and
his
stood
arse.
off it.
He
And he
fell on
gets
his
up
arse.
and he was just working it to the crowd like he meant it and then jumped up and hit the move then, you know, it was
But
brilliant.
did you see the angle that he done it at? He done it
Yeah.
in the weirdest angle and then done it as if to say, fuck you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
It
brilliant.
was just,
really cool.
Joe, take it away from me.
Look, that match was amazing. The only criticism I have of that match is that everyone knew Christian wasn't going to beat him twice. That was the only thing that was wrong with that match.
Foregone
Because you could-
conclusion.
Pardon?
A foregone conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. Because he'd already beaten him once. He was never going to beat him a second time. There was no way it was going to happen. That was the only problem. That match as an actual match, it was almost perfect. They were so.
It was
so
match of the
good.
night for me, personally.
Oh yeah, definitely. As I said, the only problem was that you could see the crowd knew Christian wasn't going to beat him a second time. You know what I mean? But the match itself was just insane.
You notice how
absolutely
Kenny's slowing down and selling shit, and even like, you know, even as a heel now, he takes his time before he's going to do his next move.
Yeah. But see, he's getting the opportunity now to work with really good talent.
Yeah.
And he's not encapsulated as much in the whole elite thing where he has to work around those guys. So he has stepped out and he's now he's not even Kenny the Cleaner anymore. He's a different Kenny Omega now.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And, you know, and I just think and Callis obviously has been instrumental in that as well, you know. So
He's just, I have to say, those shoes that he wears and everything matching the
Callis.
suit.
Callis gets better every week. Every week he's better.
Fucking phenomenal, this guy. Callis is literally the epitome. He is the modern day Bobby the Brain Heenan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's talk then. Let's move on. Cole, baby, Adam Cole comes
Can I
out.
just say, when that happened, right, I was kind of going, right, I was like, Daniel Bryan's definitely coming out.
Mm.
I'm not going to lie, I did know in my heart of hearts, I was like, he's coming out and he's going to join them.
Mm.
I just knew. I was like, and then Bryan's going to come out. But when Adam Cole done that one thing, Adam Cole, baby, and the whole crowd shouted, I was like, that's over.
Well,
That's being over.
Well, remember from his Ring of Honor background and all, he'd be a Chicago stalwart as well, you know.
Oh,
so
yeah. But it was just the fact that he knew. It was like, I'd say in his mind, he was like, please, lads, do it.
The only thing about when it happened, he hit the super kick.
Joe knows what I mean.
Boy.
It was like, please.
But do you know what I didn't like after? Because he came out and it was a big deal. And then it was like something out of Stranger Things when he got absorbed back into the elite again and into the background. And I was thinking, you should be at the forefront there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was kind of that. I was devastated when I seen him coming out because of the 3 or 4 years we've had of him on NXT and stuff like that. And my thinking on it as well was, now you talk about them signing CM Punk and Bryan Danielson and Miro and all these kind of guys. I think Adam Cole is a very influential one because, you know, in terms of Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish and all these guys, and it's like he would have that kind of pull power in terms of bringing other guys in and stuff like that. And I thought that might be him leaving would be more detrimental to WWE than certainly Bryan Danielson, believe it or not, in terms of his influence.
I think also, Niall, with him leaving and the way WWE tried so hard to keep him.
Yeah.
You know, they were having last minute meetings to try and keep him where he was, and he's still left. I think you're right. I think that it's a bad sign for a lot of because Cole knows his worth. He knew that if he stayed in WWE, he was going to go on to go up, shall we say, to the main roster, and he was going to be buried because he is not a Vince McMahon guy at all. So he said to himself, I'm going to AEW. They're changing NXT. God knows what that's going to look like afterwards. I'm getting the hell out. I'm jumping ship. And I think it's a very, very smart move for him.
I just think,
as you said, I think other quote unquote non-Vince McMahon guys will look at the same. I think it's time to get out of here because
you know that song. You did it to yourself. That kind of comes to mind.
But I just felt, you know, with all those takeovers that we enjoyed and all those brilliant matches and the Undisputed Era and the body of work that probably Hunter and Michaels have put into that and everything else, the effort and the work and the countless hours of making these guys look amazing on NXT and all those brilliant 5-star matches and stuff like that. And now it's gone. Now he's gone.
But on the next episode of Dynamo's Dozen, which is going to be recorded in about literally 10 minutes, we're going to talk about how WWE have done this to themselves because they have, you know, And unfortunately, we're now reaping the benefits. And then, I mean, look, everyone knew it had to happen. When we all heard that actual dun, 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 and then this rap music. Usually I hate rap music. I'm a Kurt Hennig guy. Rap is crap.
Rap is crap.
I'm a Kurt Hennig guy. We need a t-shirt made with Dynamo Podcast Networks. I'm a Kurt Hennig guy. Rap is crap. I was like, okay, this one isn't bothering me because Daniel's coming down looking great. I love the little green shoes and the green tracksuit, and then the fitness of that man. Those kicks that he does in the corner, like people like, oh, that's something. Like that's actually that would take it out of you. If we tried that, we'd be like, I'm taking a week off.
5 months in a Chinese shipping container. I'm ready for all the league.
Don't mind it. Don't mind Jake Kennedy. Listen, I'm the Tanner here.
To be honest with you, lads, I wasn't like you, Ian. The wool was pulled over my eyes. I thought when Adam Cole debuted, they were going to hold off the Bryan Danielson one.
Okay.
I really did. I thought, we've got, 2 huge debuts. It was kind of 3 if you throw in Suzuki as well. So you had Ruby Soho, Suzuki, and Adam Cole. I went, yeah, they'll hold off on Bryan Danielson for another night. And then the music hit, and I went, oh shit, they're actually going all, literally all out for the bloody name.
The grand declaration of war is on, gentlemen. The next 2 to 3 years, we've spoke about this repeatedly. There's nothing but wins for wrestling fans. This is the first time in a long time where we get to win. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, cherry on the cake. I mean, let's face it. The last time we reviewed an AEW card, it was not this positive. There was not many smiles, and we weren't discussing or arguing with each other about which was the match of the fucking night.
Exactly. Yeah,
because this time they all were.
And this is to succinctly put it. Yeah. To find a match of the night in this card, you'd be nitpicking and cherry picking because it wasn't a match of the night in this card simply because it was the card of the year, and that hurts me as a WWE guy. Yeah. I want to see what the other company has. I want to because what was previously speculation is now fact. And
we're going to get that from you in about 20 minutes, Shay.
You are, baby.
Yeah, if any of our viewers want to enjoy themselves as well, go look at the scrum with Tony Khan and Bryan Danielson. It's absolutely gas. He's sitting there and he's saying, I didn't have a problem with the other guy, the other people and stuff like that. And I'm there going, you liar. You politicking lawyer.
Did you hear what CM Punk said?
My wife is still WW.
Did you hear what CM Punk said? CM Punk turned around and goes, well, I find it kind of hard, like that I'm telling you that I didn't want to work for the other guy. And then I get this guy, Bryan Danielson, coming out saying, well, it's okay. I didn't need to leave the other guys. Well, then why are you here?
One bed, 2 companies.
It was kind of like I never had an issue with the other guys. They made you sit
already off.
They retired you for 2 years when you didn't want it. You forced your way back in through medicals. You politicked your way into a WrestleMania main event when you shouldn't have been there. Don't give me that crap.
You're no CM Punk.
I'm a nice guy. You're a fucking people pleaser.
Tell us you hated them and keep your fucking wooden belt.
Your burlap sack. But that's the thing, though. He can't say that. Like I said, the only place in the world where this will never be spoke of is the marital bed. I mean, you've got 1 bed and 2 companies lying in it. You know what I mean?
And then he turns around and says, I'm just here to kick guys in the head. which I thought was brilliant.
Very vegan of you.
I'd say him and Punk actually had a conversation about it beforehand because he turned around and goes, well, I see CM Punk coming out saying he's here to help people. I'm not here to help anybody. Yeah. I'm here to kick people in the face.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. It's like they're sowing the seeds, isn't it? They're already.
I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
They're working the actual owners. Like Khan is sitting there going, I love it. Keep going.
Both yourself and CM Punk need to go try chop those logs with John Cena again. Stop this.
Yeah,
it was mad. But lads, absolute pleasure. Like we're all smiles here. It's AEW. Pro wrestling is back. Fans are winning. What more?
2 thumbs up from me.
So happy days.
I'm gonna whiskey up.
So for myself and the 4 Podmen, if you want to let us know your comments down in the video. As always, you'll find us on YouTube, Dynamo Podcast Network, on Facebook, the 4 Podmen, on Twitter at TPodmen. You'll also get us on Spotify over there for the Audioverse show. This has been your AEW All Out review. Gentlemen, a pleasure as always.
Okay, baby.